Morning, y'all. Back up in the shop here. And so I noticed the other day when I was tinkering around that my brand new cross member for my 4-links was getting a free rust proofing courtesy of a leaking transmission pan. So today we're going to go ahead and change the oil and filter in the transmission, and in doing so that should take care of the leaking transmission pan. So I came up earlier and I've got the drain pan under there, and I pulled the drain plug and I've been letting it drain. And the other thing I did is I came underneath here on this side of the Cherokee, and which would be the passenger side, and right up in here where the dipstick is, there's a joint right here where my finger's pointing, and this top dipstick sticks into the dipstick that's welded into the side of the drain pan. And I sprayed a bunch of Croil in that gap there in order to hopefully let that come apart easy, because sometimes those can be a bear. So now I'm going to go under here and pull all the bolts out of the drain pan and make a big mess all over the floor, because no matter what you do, changing transmission oil laying on the floor is going to be a mess. I don't know how well this will film, but we'll see. So let me get my tools for that, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so first order of business now is going to be removing all these 10mm headed bolts around this oil pan, and we're going to try to remove all of them but the back, but these front ones up here. We're going to loosen those and try to drop the back down so more oil can drain out of that drain plug if it's still in there, and then we'll pull that pan off. So let me get all those out of there. I can't really set the camera up under here where you can see it, I don't think, without either the control arm or the drive shaft blocking your view. So I'll bring you back in a minute once I get all those bolts out. Okay, so we got the pan off, as you can see. Right, well, maybe you can't see. Hold on. There we go. So the pan is off right now. So you can see right here, there's a bolt missing in my filter, which I found in the drain pan, thankfully. I had to wrestle that drain pan down out of there with the dipstick still on it, because at some point, rather than putting the correct O-rings on it, somebody filled that thing up with silicone. So I got the magnets sitting up here, they look fine. I'm gonna clean this pan all up and then see about getting that apart. Change the filter. I'll bring y'all back for that part. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I got the inside of this pan cleaned up, and I'm going to show you why this thing was leaking. So I got a straight edge here. You see that big gap between where the straight edge is sitting on top of those bolt holes, where they're all dinged in? So that is what happens when you over tighten the bolts tighter than what they're supposed to be. So whoever did this last, not only did they screw around and put silicone in that, they over tightened all these bolts and bent that pan, and that's why it's leaking. So let me get set up and I'll show you how you can fix that. So I got the dipstick off, and you see right here, this O-ring is busted right there. And that is why that thing was leaking and why they stuck a bunch of silicone on it, which is not a good idea. So I'll get that cleaned up. And now that I got this off and out of the way, I can get this pan cleaned up the rest of the way and get set up to straighten those bolt holes out. All right, it's time to fix the holes in this. Now you see I got this old piece of metal in here, and the most important part of it is this got a flat area the same width as this raised part on here, so that you can sit it right on top of there, just like that, and then take the little small hammer on each, and go to each one of these holes and we're basically just going to dolly these flat again. Once you get all those flat like that, and then it's ready to put back on, and don't over tighten them. So let me take care of some other stuff. I'll be back to put this back together. All right, so we got our pan all nice and clean. Mating surfaces all nice and straight again. Dipstick tube fixed up and cleaned out. We got us a brand new Wix filter. They're not a sponsor or anything, I just like their filters. So we're gonna have to go under here and get this filter changed real quick. It's pretty easy to do. So there's the bolt that I found in the oil pan out of the filter. It went right here. So there's a bolt there, there's a bolt there, there's a bolt here, and a bolt back over here on this corner. 4 bolts. And that's all you want to take out. Do not mess with any of the rest of this stuff. And I shouldn't have to say this, but it kind of goes without saying that while you're doing this, you don't want dirt blowing up into this. You want to keep all this nice and clean. So let me set the camera down, get this filter changed out, clean up my gasket mating surfaces, and I'll be back. So now you can see we got our filter in, ready to go. Our gasket surfaces are all cleaned up. So now we'll bolt on the oil pan. And the torque value for those is only 10 inch-pounds, which is why all the bolt holes get bent by everybody trying to over tighten them. So if you don't have a torque wrench, probably ought to get one. So let me get that done, and I'll be right back. All right, we've got our pan back in. All the little bolts are torqued. So now we just got to drop our dipstick back down through there and we'll be good to go. Well, we'll have to add fluid. Cross that bridge once we get the dipstick back in. But everything's tightened down, so we'll move on to that. So we got our dipstick with our new O-ring on it. Kind of got to shimmy that down in its hole. Let me get the stool. Be somewhere right in that neighborhood. I've got to go to the bottom and get it stuck in the bottom. I'll be right back. All right, now we've got the dipstick back on, we got to throw 4 quarts of oil back in her. Once we get the 4 quarts of oil back in it, we'll start it up, run it through all the gears sitting here, let it warm up, check for leaks, check the oil, and we'll be done. But you don't need to see all that. It's pretty much the end of this video. So I appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully this will help you out or entertain you, one or the other. And appreciate y'all supporting the channel. And y'all have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.